Hey guys, welcome to Coptic Topic.
I'm Maurice.
And I'm Maria, and today we're here with
Julia.
Bishoy.
And today's episode is about the meaning of being a church servant.
So
to start, sorry Maria, what does it mean to be a servant in the church?
Do you want to start?
Okay. Let's start with the definition of a servant.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are five main characteristics in a servant. First thing is love.
Mm-hmm.
He has to care about everyone, love everyone. Second thing, in my opinion, the second important thing is the sacrifice. If the main thing for the servant is to sacrifice his to have a mentality of sacrificing his time, his effort, his money, his skills as well. So third thing is patience. Fourth is the accepting others, no matter how they look, no matter how they behave. Last thing is commitment.
Okay. Anyone else want to answer that question?
I would say service is like offering yourself to Jesus and to the servants and to make sure that they're getting what they need. And I would say also to be able to teach the little kids. I teach the little kids myself, so I think it's to offer your time and to offer it with humility. It's not like you're doing this to show people that you serve. No, you're serving God, and this is what would God want from you, just to serve these kids or like the youth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think they summarized it perfectly, but I think the most important characteristic of being a servant is being selfless. You get a lot out of serving, but it's not materialistic, and you really have to look for it. So I don't think you should go in expecting to get anything. You really have to be selfless.
Yeah, I completely agree. Maria?
I agree with all the points that were made. I don't know if I could add anything on.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask another question. Why do we serve in the church?
I think we're trying to raise there's different types of serving in the church, but specifically since as a church servant for the youth, I like uplifting the youth and making sure they feel connected to the church. And I feel like that's a big role in being a church servant from my perspective.
I think God gave us a lot of gifts, and I think, for myself at least, I think that we should use them in a way that praises God. And whether that was you have a good voice that you can worship God and sing to Him, teaching, you can teach people. A lot of talents that we can use is just to worship Him and to praise Him, not waiting for a praise from somebody or a recognition from somebody. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that for show now. I'm doing this just slowly for Jesus. Mm-hmm. But that's using the gifts that God gave us.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, I have one point to add. When Jesus appeared to his disciples at the last chapter of John, he asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Mm-hmm. And then Peter said, "Yes, of course." And then Jesus replied back, "Take care of my sheep, or feed my sheep." So if we love God, we should serve and take care of His sheep.
That's a good point. I never even thought about that. The fact that it's right there. Because I was looking through verses too, and I was I was struggling to find the perfect way to serve other than just in humility. But I didn't even realize that God straight up told us.
I was thinking about the one where we're called to serve the poor and the needy and the hungry because we're serving Jesus in that way. But yeah, I also didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked him 3 times, not only 1 time. So I want to make sure, if you love me, take care of my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. And you guys are feeding them. When you serve, you are feeding them spiritually. You're feeding them, teaching them, give them the opportunity to do some activities in the church, feel they relate to the church, and feeding them in many different ways.
Do y'all think everyone is called to serve?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
Why?
Because I think God wants us to serve. I think there's like so many ways you can serve. It's not like you just have to teach in Sunday school. There's a lot of ways to serve, especially in the church. We're always in need for somebody to help in some way.
Mhm.
So I think we are. Like,
Everyone agree?
I think there's so many different ways. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like bound
It
to
doesn't
find
have to just be like Sunday school.
exactly.
I think by serving, we're also spreading the word. Like, we have to serve in church, like, logistically, like, as a Sunday school servant or, like, in choir, like, things like that. But we're also serving, like, the true definition of serving is to just, like, lay down your life for anybody. And we're all children of God. But I was in a fellowship lesson once, and one of the servants gave an analogy where he was saying that if you were on, like, a burning bridge and everybody, like, there were cars flying off, but you were able to make it and like get off the bridge safely, would you not like scream for help or like try to let people know like what is in front of them and like try to save them from getting like hurt? And I thought that was really important because that's happening to us now, and like it's
Going
really
off your
important.
point, I feel like we can also serve outside the church. Like, it doesn't have to just be in the church, like whether it's like Sunday school or what you said, like worshiping. Going back to the example you said, we could also serve like by giving to the poor or like on our own time. It doesn't have to just be within the church.
I think it's showing an example of Jesus and how he treated the disciples and how he's with them throughout his life and serving them in so many ways.
How should a servant's heart be, like, in order to serve the right way, essentially? So it's not like for your own praise. What do you think are like important factors?
I think this is so basic, but I think love, like not even in like just like a cliche way, but it's so important to show love. One thing that our priest talks about a lot is like love is a decision. Like if you are having trouble loving someone or you're seeing a lot of flaws in them, that doesn't mean you don't love them. Like the fact that you are trying to find a way to like appreciate them is the love. Like you decide to love someone. It's not just like someone that you're happy around or feel comfortable around. So I think once you make that decision to love everybody, because you're going to face a lot of hard people, you're going to like face disagreements in service. You're going to face like children who are difficult to serve or like want to give you a hard time or don't want to be helped. That's always like the hardest part. So you really have to be loving and meet people where they're at. And that's another thing that leads to like, you have to be adaptable. Like I really think that you have to be able to like meet people where they're at. You're going to meet a lot of different personalities. You have to collaborate and compromise. So I think those are some pretty important characteristics.
I want to second that. Love is, for me, is the most important characteristic for the servant to have. And he reminded me of a story when I was in Egypt regarding the kids have a hard time to deal with. We used to have like a van to transport the kids from their houses to the church. And there was that kid that is like hyperactive and everyone had a hard time to deal with. And he was like so all over the places and it's not safe to just keep going back and forth in the van. And there was one servant riding the same van and he loved him. He did not yell at him like everyone used to do. He just loved him and he gave him some responsibility, some love. And he told him, whenever you see someone coming to the van or to ride the van, just open the door and shut the door. And he was so happy. And this little kid became a Sunday school servant later on. But because he showed him some love, he gained him as a servant in the church. So he did not reject him. He did not yell at him. He just gave him some love and some patience, and he gained him.
I think it's the approach, how you approach people in service. So I think if you approach them in a way that will make them eventually hate the church and hate the service and hate Abuna or hate like the servants in general, they will not come or anything. But if you approach them in a way that says, say for example that you I serve the little kids, so I face a lot of hardships with them. Just being separating from their mothers is the hardest thing that we face. So
Wait, what age is it?
the pre-K, I
okay.
teach pre-K, so it's kind of hard for them to separate from their moms, especially at that age. They're very young. So it's the approach. I've seen some people maybe, no, don't do this, don't do that. But you have to go down to their level and see what they want, what they actually want. Well, how about this time we're gonna sit for 5 minutes and watch the story and stuff. So I think it's always the approach. If you approach them in a way that will actually motivate them to come more and just sit with these little kids, watch a movie, do like some activities that will make them love to be here. So it's the approach for them.
I was gonna ask, how can we get the youth to want to become more involved in the service or want to serve?
I think it goes back to what Amab Shoy said. It's so easy, like, to soften someone's heart. It's so easy. It just takes a little bit of love. Like, you could try with force. You could try with hate. Like, you could try in so many ways to, like, kind of, like, show who you are and, like, be like, no, like, you have to respect your elders or I'm your servant. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. But just, like, a little bit of love, it can completely change someone's demeanor. Like, I also served kindergarten, but I feel like I see this in the entire service, like, with all age groups that, like, they could be just having a bad day, or like, for example, like, yeah, my kids will like have an off day and come in crying, or they don't want to leave their parents and things like that. You just tell them a joke or like let them pick something out of the treasure box and then they will never forget your name. Like, I feel like if I give like a child 10% of my love, they'll give me 200% back. Like they're so much more loving than us and they teach us so much in the service, and it's really easy to turn things around. You just have to be adaptable.
And also, believe it or not, they are watching you. Sorry if I cut you over, but they are watching you everywhere. How you smile, how you pray, when you come to the church. It's scary if you think about it, but they are watching you. They think big of you, and they are taking you as their example, and they will try to copy everything you're doing. And sometimes some parents may reach out to you saying, can you convince my son not to stop doing this or that? So they are listening to you more than their parents. And that's a big responsibility, right?
It is a responsibility.
I have she's not in my class anymore. She's a little bit older, but I had a Sunday school girl who was in my class, and she was mixed. So she had an Egyptian parent, and then she had another parent who wasn't Egyptian, and she was facing just some, like, she was only 5 or 6, but she wasn't really encouraged to come to church, and she felt like shy to like join Sunday school and make friends and things like that. And the same thing happened. Her mom reached out to me and I called her and she never forgot my name. And I think she's in like 3rd or 4th grade now, and she always comes and says hi to me and gives me a hug, and like,
Oh, that's so
it's
sweet.
really easy to form a relationship, and it's important too.
And I used to serve that age for more than 20 years. But the first group that I served outside kindergarten was you guys in high school.
You did amazing.
From kindergarten to high school.
I was gonna ask, what like sparked your interest in serving? What got you into serving? What made you want to serve?
To be honest, I don't think I went into it for the right reasons. It was just like so many of my friends served, so I think that encouraged me. And it's not a bad reason, but I think I grew after I joined the service. I grew to understand why I should have joined and like what it means to be a servant. But honestly, that was it.
Either way, like however you got into it,
Yeah.
as long as you're here.
It's encouraging, yeah. And I try to encourage my friends too.
I was serving back in Egypt. Like, I served in Egypt for about maybe 5 years before I came here. So when I came here, like, it's automatic to me. Like, I'm gonna be a servant. I'm gonna try to see what I'm actually serving the same group I was serving back in Egypt. So I think it's easy for me. But this is how I got into it. I was in Egypt to serve.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm here.
why'd you get into it in Egypt? Why did you?
I don't know. Let me try to remember.
Okay, do you want me to come back to you?
No, I think once you hit middle school or high school in Egypt, it's like very natural for you to become a servant. They give you like a course, and then you get like a final exam and you take it, and if you pass it, then you start serving. You serve with somebody, and then you serve by yourself. Usually it's like 2 servants per class, but sometimes they let you teach by yourself, but that's how I got into it.
Oh, sure.
Same thing. I looked really high to my Sunday school teachers, and every time I go to Sunday school when I was a little kid, I wished that I will be a Sunday school teacher. And as Myrna mentioned, that it's in Egypt, it's basically the same here. You take the pre-service class, and if you pass, for me, coming from a big church in Egypt, in Alexandria, Egypt, we used to spend like two years just exploring all the classes, and then the director will direct you to whatever class they need more servants in. So for me, it was like a good challenge for me to make me a better person.
Maria?
Honestly, I like decided that I wanted to be a Sunday school servant was because I saw my mom and she had always been teaching Sunday school. So like, oh, I kind of want to be like her, and I just followed into her footsteps. And at first I was like, this is a lot because like the pre-sermon class was like essays, but I was like learning a lot, but I didn't expect it to be like that because like I just saw my mom as a servant. I didn't realize there was like an entire process, and you don't just go teaching whatever. Like she genuinely cared, and I guess that factor like it didn't click until I was in the class. But it was like a lot like you too, Julia, where it's like, oh, everyone else is doing it, my mom's doing it, let me do it. But it was like an eye opener. It's like you don't just go and do anything. You have to serve with love, and you have to make sure the kids know that you want to be there and you want to serve them. What about you?
I was gonna say, like, it kind of was the same for Realm of Joy as it was for me. I, like, saw my Sunday school teachers, and I was like, oh, I wanted to serve. I guess I kind of wanted the responsibility, because I thought, like, oh, I'm gonna be in charge of, like, so many people. I guess I went into it for the wrong reasons as well. But, like, now I see that it's, like, it is a big responsibility, and it's not because, like, I want to be, like, superior, but it's because I do really want to teach these kids, and I want them to see Christ in me, and I want to, like, teach the way of Christ to them also.
Now that we like all said that like we feel like we joined for the wrong reasons, I feel like it's such a good example of like how serving also serves us like back. Like if you're able to recognize that you started for the wrong reasons, you've come so far. Like you made so much progress. So like it's just a really good reminder that like when you serve, you're also being served. So
how do our acts of service connect us to our spiritual journey and help us progress in our spiritual journeys?
One more time.
Like, how does serving help your relationship with God?
I mean, this kind of goes back to like the factors of like being a servant. And like my main thing, because it was kind of like I'm piggybacking off of y'all's answer where it was like love. Well, Christ is love. So essentially, since we're serving, we have to be loving, and that brings us back to like Christ. How do we be like Christ? So in like the work of serving others, you have to think back to God and like building that relationship with God so that you're not just going off of your own ideas or thoughts and like, I think this is what's best for the youth. But if you're genuinely rooted in Christ, you're gonna like, he's gonna work through you. So you're brought like, it's like a cycle. Like you were saying, you serve yourself as well as serving the kids.
I think it's like going into it expecting like you're not gonna get anything back, just how Jesus served, and like he obviously didn't expect anything back. And when you're serving, it's like, I don't know, you get like, when you start doing it for the right reasons, you're like joyful, if that makes sense. Like, especially like one of my favorite services is the food drive, the hot meals for the homeless shelter. I love doing that. It makes me so happy to know that I'm helping people, and doing it as a community as well is just so fun for me.
And also, it makes you a better person. So you are teaching the kids to confess, teaching the kids to read the Bible. You're teaching the kids to come early to the liturgy and have communion. So if you're not doing that yourself, you will be just like phony, right? Kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're teaching someone something you don't do. So I will start reading my Bible. I'll start praying. I'll start schedule some time with my father of confession on a regular basis. So when I teach the kids those good stuff, I'm doing it myself first before I teaching it. So that makes me a better person.
Yes. Sometimes I get nervous that like I'm being a hypocrite. I'm just like, oh guys, be kind, and then I catch myself. So you are serving yourself. Like that's such a good point. Like sometimes I overlook that because I always think like, oh, as a servant you have to be below like the children or like the people you're serving because essentially you're the servant. And I forget that in the same way I'm serving them, I'm serving myself as well.
yeah.
I also, adding to your point, I always think about it every Sunday I'm teaching. I always, like, when I'm preparing for the lesson, I'm always thinking to myself, Myrna, like, are you really, for example, if I'm teaching about something about believing in God and trusting God and letting God do what's in His will for you, are you really trusting God? So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. So I always think to myself,
That's a
well, you
big
guys-
problem for me
Yes.
as well.
Yes. So are you, like, I always question myself, are you believing in God? Are you trusting God? Are you letting go? You're just worrying all the time and not thinking about maybe praying to God or maybe like asking God for help or guidance.
Mhm.
So it always comes to mind that it's kind of hard to just be a servant. You have to
Yeah.
also make sure that you also doing what you're teaching.
I was gonna ask, what are some struggles that everyone has found in being a servant?
Like personal struggles or
Yeah.
for me, like my kids have a really short attention span, so it really tests me to like make the lesson interactive and interesting. So I found that like maybe I need to be a more creative person. So that was something that like I
I
reflected
find
on.
my grade is 5th and 6th,
Mhm.
and I find that they get distracted so easily, and it's hard to keep them interested. And I try to do games and stuff, but it's just like I'm looking at the lesson and I'm like, what game can I play with this? How can I keep them interested? And like it's kind of honestly, it's kind of discouraging sometimes whenever you're teaching in the class and they're all like talking about like something else. So yeah, that's one of my struggles.
I learned something interesting regarding that in my school in Egypt, not in the church. We had a professor that he said if a professor came into a lecture and one student did not understand anything, maybe the student had like lack of focus or something. Two students did not focus well, but all the students are losing focus. So the professor is the reason that they are losing focus. So as you said, it taught me to prepare the lesson in a very interesting ways. The focus span for the little kids is like 5 to 7 minutes. So make the story or the lesson short for 7 minutes. When they grow up a little bit for third and fourth graders, they start playing sports and they get competitive. So be prepared to prepare some questions. Make the lesson as you're asking a lot of questions. They are so competitive. Third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth graders are they are so competitive. So add some more questions into the lesson. So it's based on the age and the grade, how you prepare the lesson. You can't teach lessons for kids, little kids, kindergarten to fifth and sixth. So that I get like to have to deep dive into how to teach those kids based on their grades and ages, and what is the best way to deliver the message to them.
I'm the same as you because like
Really?
the grade's right below yours, so the same issue. I mean, like I found like small solutions such as not starting the lesson immediately because that'll automatically they're like no, like we're not doing
I
this.
do the same thing.
Yeah,
My daughter's
I have to
like-
ease in, so we start
Yeah.
with like, oh guys, let's see what did y'all read in the Bible this last week, and then we like review the questions, and then I can start the lesson. And you have to let them know there's a reward at the end, like a game or something, so they're like, okay, I'll listen, and they'll pay attention. So. But maybe 5th grade is like outside of that reign of the game at the end.
I would say, for me, I do have, I would say also at your point too, it's also the short attention span. For me, I try my best to use a lot of illustrations for them. So like visual illustrations. I look up in like Pinterest, like see what's the lesson, and then I start looking at Pinterest, like do like cutouts or anything that would help them understand. Because I think stories that I know right now from the Bible, I think it goes back to when I was a child, like in their age, and how they explained it to us. I think it's still in my memory how they explained it to me, so now I still know it. So I think the visual illustrations help a lot how they understand the lesson and stuff. Yeah.
How can we balance our service with our personal responsibilities? And when is the time to serve? When should we serve? Like when we have our own personal lives.
I think all of the time. I don't think there's like a right or wrong time. I think like you're constantly serving in the sense of just being like Christ. Like everyone around you is being served. But do you mean like specifically like actual
like,
events?
When should we show up? What do you think?
Wait, elaborate.
Like, if there's a service, but you have something else to do, what do you think?
So I think kids should start servicing in the church early, like bring them to clean the church. Whenever you have events, let them organized and clean up their room, their nursery room, or whatever they are doing. Let them clean up after themselves. So they start having their hands in the church early. That will encourage them to be servants when they grow up.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe as soon as you can, bring them to service in the church.
I think also giving kids like jobs, it makes them feel important. Like Amo Choi's story, about the kid opening the door. Like he felt like he had something to do, and like people were counting on him. So I think kids need that sort of like little responsibility to
Yes.
want to continue to, when they grow up, to like want to serve.
I want to add one thing to that. Do you guys know the story of Saint Athanasius, right?
Mhm.
And how he defended the faith against Arius and Arianism. The story how Pope Alexander recruited him is amazing, and you guys should do the same as servants. You should not recruit, but know the skills and within your group or within your class, and encourage them, enhance them, embrace them to use it in the church. So Pope Alexander was at the window of his room looking outside, and Saint Athanasius was playing an act, a play with his friends and acting, and then he called him, asked him about his name, and he sent him to the monastery to Saint Anthony to embrace and have the knowledge, and then he became Saint Athanasius, the defender of the faith, right? So if Pope Alexander did not court him, and recruit him, he will not be Saint Athanasius, the Pope and the defender of the faith in the council. So and defend the faith against the Arianism. So this is an important thing to check the skills within your class and your group. If someone has a beautiful voice, encourage him to join the choir. If someone is like drawing well, someone is very organized and he's like everything has to make it perfect, use him to lead the cleaning. And so use their skills early from young age to and embrace it in the church.
I guess that sparks question of, do you think they could get burnt out? Like they feel like they're constantly serving?
That's a good question.
Have y'all ever felt burnt out from serving?
I'll let you guys answer first.
Sometimes, I'll say sometimes, not all the time though. Especially like when it's like Christmas time or Easter time, when everything is just so crammed and you have to get everything
everything's
done.
right after each other.
Yeah, but not in the regular days.
I feel like those are the best times though. Like
I would say I agree. Yeah.
like in Raleigh when we had the Egypt festival, like people were sleeping over at church like the whole weekend, like
Really?
and waking up at 6 and sleeping at like 2, and like I'm sure they were like exhausted and they were doing so much like physical work, but I'm sure they made the best memories. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I feel like it's important to take care of yourself so you can pour into other people's cups. But I think at the same time, like God would reward you. He wouldn't like allow you to like feel something that would lead you astray from serving.
I mean, in regards to being a Sunday school teacher, I guess I don't feel burnt out because one, it's not every day, it's just once a week.
Yeah.
And also I don't teach once a week, it's like rotations. With our classes we have like at least 4 or 5 teachers teaching, so we
Yeah.
switch out. I know it's not like that with every class, but with my class, like we get to switch out, so I don't have to teach like all the time. So
Same here.
I want to add something to the burnout idea. A lot of servants, after a while, they have like lack of motivation. They feel like, oh, I'm serving here and there and going to church everywhere, every day, or whenever we have anything to serve at, and they feel like I want to take a break. I want to step out and just take a break. So I think that happened many times, and it happened with me personally in Egypt. And the way that my father of confession explained it to me is because you are serving with your own energy, with your own, you're burning your own oil, and you're consuming your own battery, and you are not plugged to the source. So you are consuming all your energy, and you are not getting recharged back. So once you get plugged in back, get in connection with God again, and start praying again, start taking the power from the source, you will have the motivation again. And I think that worked out well. When you start praying and connecting with God again, that will give you the energy and the motivation to continue in the service, and you will never feel like you are tired. And I believe last time we had a conversation, I explained to you guys what is the difference between a servant that has that feeling or Abuna. So if you think about a day in Abuna's life, he started early in the morning, going to church, praying a liturgy, giving communion to all the congregation, bending down to the little kids, and then after the liturgy, he goes for another communion outside the church, and then someone called him, "Hey Abuna, my son broke his arm in the school." And he go visit him at the hospital. On his way back, someone gonna call him, "I have a problem with my son." Or my daughter, or any family issue. So his day is full of events, sad events, and he has to make everyone feeling comfortable. And at the end of the day, he can't quit, right? Mm-hmm. What is giving Abuna that energy? Like every single day, he's having bad news, right? Mm-hmm. Every time we reach out to Abuna, "Hey, this servant is talking bad about me. This servant is doing this. This guy is doing that." So all these negative energy and bad news to Abuna, and he's still able to continue because he's connected to God. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between Abuna and the servant. The servant, maybe he will take a break. Mm-hmm. He will step out for a little bit and then recharge and come back. But Abuna is always connected, and that makes him fully charged every day.
It's a huge responsibility, to
Yes.
say the least, to be like responsible for a whole congregation.
Yeah. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I was wondering what you guys thought about the roles of service and like how there can be like gender associated roles. So like, for example, women can't, I know that everybody has different talents and can serve in different ways, but women can't be deacons or serve the roles of priests. So what do you guys think about that? This one's a tough one.
I think sometimes you need some like I heard that last couple of years. We need a male servant for the middle schoolers because they are full of energy. They want to play. They want to go out. They want to. They are full of energy. They need someone to go with them, and girls will not be able to play with them soccer and fulfill all their physical needs. So they need some kind of male servant to take care of that part. But spiritually, I feel like it's the same. There is no difference between both genders. I believe like when it comes to activities, you may need to add like differentiate. Like in high school, I always say we may need a lady or a girl to serve in high school because the girls, they have needs and they have some they need someone to talk with. They can't talk to mom or Bishoy about it, right? If they have something personal, so they need someone like a girl in this critical age to talk to if they have any problems, any issues in their personal life. So that's basically it. And at some age, you may need both genders as servants to serve and fulfill their needs.
I mean,
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, when it comes to like Sunday school teachers, I don't think the gender like matters, especially since we have like rotating teachers. But like when it comes to like being a deacon, like obviously that's a male role. I don't know what y'all's view on that is, but
No, I agree.
yeah.
I feel like we can't like disagree that
Yeah.
much because it's like that. That's what they're like. That's what. That's what. Sorry, guys.
You're okay. Julia, you had another question also.
Oh yeah. I see a lot of times families will kind of, or like parents will expect that they can kind of lean back in the spiritual aspect of raising their children, and they expect the servants of the church to raise their children, and then when something goes wrong, they find us to blame. And I kind of have my own opinion on that, but I wanted to see what you guys thought about just the balance between doing the part at home and also serving as a servant for the children.
I think there definitely needs to be a balance. I think it can't just be all on the servant, but it also can't be all on the parents, because they do bring their kids to church to learn, and they take their kids to Sunday school to learn. So it should be, I don't want to say like, it should be like, you should like effort from both sides. But if the kid is doing something wrong and then the parents find the servants to blame, I don't think that's justifiable.
I always tell the parents when they start blaming Sunday school teachers, they are spending 10 to 15 minutes with their teachers a week. And they are spending their whole time with you guys. How you are expecting in this 15 minutes, we're going to teach them about God. We teach them about how they should respect the house of God. They should stay silent in the church and respect the church. And we should teach them like life skills in just 15 minutes. They come to the church with you. They attend the liturgy with you. So you should teach them with us, not only us, and it's not only you, with us. We can't teach everything in just 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think these lessons should be taught at home as well. Obviously, I don't have kids, but when when I was little, like all of the morals from my mom and dad matched up from whenever I went to Sunday school. So it's not like it was new news to me. It's not like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy, but it did match up. So I think they should communicate those morals in their homes also.
There were times though, then like when I was younger, that I felt like people were raised differently. Like even as a child, I was able to like appreciate the fact that like I felt like I was raised really well and like with a strong faith and around church constantly. But I was able to differentiate between like other children in my Sunday school class who like I could just like tell they weren't around church as much. I wouldn't see them as often, or they would act differently, or like they would go about a situation differently. And I guess my question is like, what's the solution to that? At that point, like how much like leeway does a servant have to get involved? And I know we do things like visitations. Visitations are so important. We visit them in the home. We get to see the environment they're in and connect to them on more of a personal level, like to the point where you're like going to make a trip to see them and things like that. But I don't know. I feel like if I could have seen that as a child, then I'm sure that the children I serve can see that in the children around them. And at what point does a servant have to step in and maybe like play the role of a parent, or if there's family problems, or if they only have one parent, things like that?
I believe you have to get the parents involved always. Like if you have a special program, or you are starting a new curriculum or a new activity at the church, you have to get the parents involved, explain it to them first, so they will support you. That's what I believe. I'm not sure if that's answering your question or not, but always involve parents and teach them, let them know what exactly you are doing and what's the goal, and what are the outcomes you are expecting out of this activity, out of starting this conversations or teachings. And they will understand. And I had to learn that practically. We used to have starting having retreats, and the parents maybe they don't know what does that mean. What is the outcome of these retreats? What are you guys going to do? You're just gonna camp, just camping, or is it a spiritual retreat? Are you gonna just pray all the Agbeya hours and expecting it gonna be like 100% spiritual? So I learned that the hard way, and the next time I had to explain it to the parents, and hey, this is the activity, and this is the outcomes we are expecting, and it's not gonna be 100% fun. It's not gonna be 100% spiritual. We should mix those up, and so they will support your idea. Does that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think getting the family involved, like Shay said, is very important. For us, like when we start like doing a choir or anything, we try to involve the parents as much as we can. Okay, we're gonna teach this song. We need you guys to make sure that they memorize at least the first part, because we're gonna review it next time. So we're just keeping like updating them. Okay, we're gonna teach this part. We're gonna teach the second part. We need your involvement in this. We do have some parents that would complain or like blame us for stuff. I think the efficient way to fix these problems is sit with them one-to-one and talk with them and see what's their point of view. Because sometimes I feel like, I would say maybe 50%, it's a miscommunication from both parties. It's not just us or not just them, but I feel like sometimes it's miscommunication. So I would say if we would listen from them and see what's going on, maybe we can fix it. If not, and it looks like it's going to escalate, maybe we can involve Abuna in this and see if we can meet in the middle lane and see what's going on. But I think involvement is very important.
Wait, I have another question. Sorry. It also has to do with the servant playing the role of the parent, or like just like a different family dynamic. So, for example, I had a situation where there was a child that didn't want to come in for Sunday school that day, and he was just like throwing a fit and not happy, didn't even want to like enter the classroom, and his mom was trying to work with us to get him to go inside. And then he went inside, and then after, when she was leaving, she like said to us, she was like, tell him if he doesn't do good, or tell him if he doesn't pay attention, like after Sunday school. And like, I understand maybe that's how they do things at home, but I felt bad. Like, I felt like, I felt awkward about it. Yeah, it's not my place. It's not between us.
Like a trade.
But at the same time, I can't make decisions for her child, or like get in between the way she wants to raise her child. But I don't know. There were times like I could see it as a servant. I could see it before I started serving, and I could see it as when I was being served, that like people are just raised differently, and there's different issues that you face with every age. And to what extent, like, how is the servant's responsibility? Like, how much do you cover when it comes to a child?
I think you need to just sit down and set up a strategy, and communicate that, as Myrna said, to the parents. If this kid is hyperactive, or he's not listening, or he is always crying, he have like a separation anxiety or something, you should set up some goals and some solutions and communicate it to the parents. Tell them, okay, the first 3 months we will just concentrate or focus on his coming and accepting being here with you. And then the next 3 months, once I gain his trust, the next 3 months he will stay here. I'm pretty sure he may get like 10-15% of the lesson. But I'm the winner here. He's now here. He trusts me. Without his mom, he can stay without his mom. The next 3 months, he may start listening because he trusted you, right? And the last 3 months, he will be like any normal kid.
Yeah.
So just set up some strategies and communicate that to the parent, and ask him to help you achieve that goal.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, make small progress.
I mean, I was kind of like that kid when I was younger. Like, I always wanted to be around my mom. And the last thing I think I would have wanted was for my servant to make the same. Like, my mom wouldn't necessarily say, like, I'm going to take your toy away. But, like, hypothetically, if she was to say that, and the servant said that too, I feel like I wouldn't trust the servant. I'm like, whose side are you on? You know? And I'm like thinking I wouldn't want the servant to, like, use the same threat on me. Because, like, I feel like that would break my bond with them. Like, I'm trying to build that bond, and if you're threatening me, there's gonna be no bond formed because I don't know you like that. So, like, the threats, no, I don't think that would work well. But I'm thinking if I were to do, like, if I were to pick what a servant should do, I think just, like, I know the parent had said do that threat or say that threat to the kid. I think what's better is to calm them down and say, like, oh, maybe your mom will get upset or something, so that they start thinking it through, but not making it seem as though the servant is the one who's, like, gonna get them in trouble.
Yeah.
But
I think we can also use other strategies. Like, maybe if that kid likes to do something specifically, he likes to paint, he likes to draw something, he likes to watch something, maybe we can offer that just to encourage him to be with us and not have that separation anxiety. So I think we can also contribute in that by trying to see what that kid likes and maybe offer it to him or her.
I have a question also regarding the parents. I'm sorry, like, this is all about the parents, but how do you deal with, like, favoritism when people are starting to get into the service and the parents are like, oh, like, she's always doing this, he's always doing that, and, like they want their kids to be in the service, but, like, sometimes their kids, like, don't want to. Yeah.
I think just kind of trying to build that relationship. So if I understand the question correctly, I think just building that relationship the best you can with that kid. Like, even the small things, like, I've noticed with the kids who don't want to come to Sunday school or do any of the activities, like, just making sure that they know that, like, that they know that I care about them and that I want to talk with them automatically, like, lifts up their spirit. Like, whenever we're in Sunday school and there's that one kid who doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to answer questions, or will kind of be like, I don't know. But the second you kind of make a joke with them, or you're like, hey, I bet you do know, they'll start answering more. I don't know if that was answering your question, though.
I'm talking about, like...
I understand you.
Yeah.
Okay, you go.
But I will add something to this, to what Maria just said, and I will answer your question.
Perfect.
So I think I agree 100% with what you're saying. And I will say, I will mention like personal testimony about this. There was a kid, he was like really loud and crying, but he likes Pokemon cards. I started to buy Pokemon cards and exchange them with this kid every week, and that made him so crazy. And he woke up like really early before his parents, asking them to come to the church to exchange the Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
with a Sunday school teacher. So it's part of your mission or your job to check what is his interest, what is his, as Myrna mentioned, his skills. If he's drawing, his acting, singing, Pokemon cards, likes to watch SpongeBob, whatever, and start having a conversation with him about the thing that he likes. And he will feel like some personal connection between you and him, and that's how you start the conversation. That's how you start the trust between you, building a trust between you and the kid, and we'll go from there. Regarding your question, you guys wanna answer?
We'll answer after.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think you need to check with the parents. Your question is, what is if you have like favorite people doing
like the
such?
Parents see favoritism.
Okay.
Oh.
I think you need to talk to the parents that okay, you're again, it's a communication thing. You need to talk to them. Hey, your kid is good at this, but he's not good at that. God created us with specific set of skills. And we are using everyone's skill for the service. If someone is not good at singing, he can join the choir. He can be in everything. And if he's shy, do not push him to be there. he can't act in the play, in the drama team, for example. So like ask your kids to do whatever they want, so they will like the church. They will feel like the church is allowing me to apply all my skills. So again, you need to have a conversation with the parents and tell them what's going on, how you're gonna use their kids' skills, and all the kids are equal, but we are just using their skills in the right way. Yeah, that's it.
Are you asking about parents wanting their children to serve or to be served? Like,
No, to serve.
okay, I honestly think, like, this might be controversial, but I think just let them. Like, we all got into the service for different reasons, and, like, we can acknowledge that it was wrong, but, like, if that's what it takes to get them in, if they're willing, why not? I mean, like...
I just meant, like, you know, when the servants choose out, like, some people, like, say for an event, oh, like, she's gonna do this,
yeah.
he's gonna do that, these are their jobs, and they see some sort of favoritism, that was my
Like, they want it their way,
yeah,
I guess.
kind of. I guess they just want their kid to, like,
I would say the same thing. True said, like, just tell them that everybody has their own talent, their own skill. They can master this better than the other, and your kid is talented at this, so that's why we're giving him this role. Or yeah.
I have a question for you guys,
Yeah.
as young servants. How you deal with the disagreement with parents, older servants, the service director, Sunday school director, or Abuna? How you deal with all these disagreements?
you know, I was planning on asking that, but I was, like, not sure if I, thank you. But no, I think, I don't know, at first it was kind of like, I felt like they didn't see us and didn't take us, like, seriously, I guess. But now I think we've, like, broken a wall to the point where, like, they do kind of start to see us seriously, and they'll let us do stuff on our own, and like, start stuff like this podcast. And I think we just had to get over that wall and, like, kind of break it. It's kind of like also with your parents, whenever, like, you start driving, they don't let you out, but now they'll let me out fine. So I think it's kind of the same idea. What about you, More?
No, I agree. Because we both went through the same pre-service class, and, like, right when we became a servant, I felt like there was that wall. I was like, okay, it feels like I'm a servant as well, but there's servants, and then there's me.
Yeah.
So it was like, I felt like I couldn't do anything, and I wasn't really serving anyone. It was more like I'm kind of there, and I feel like I'm making everyone uncomfortable because they're all older than me, and the group that was before us all went to college. So we were just there, and I forgot how old we were, like sophomores?
Yeah.
Juniors?
No, we were juniors. I think.
Yes, and these are all adults, and we're like in high school, so it was a lot, but we made it through, and now we're,
And we
like,
were just-
very close with the servants. It was just that
we were
first
just sitting
push.
there in the meetings like, hey guys, we have an idea. Oh no, okay. So,
How did you build this trust?
I think it's just we found servants that wanted to hear us out, just like
Yes.
you.
Oh,
And
Shout out Amu Bishoy.
shout out
that's
to
so
Mary
cute.
also. We did find servants that, like, wanted to hear us out, and then I guess they saw that y'all were hearing us out, so they also heard us
Yeah.
out. So, and they were like, oh, like, y'all can actually do it. And then when y'all gave us control over events, and y'all, they saw that we could take care of it, and we did take care of it all on our own, and they had fun in these events, then they were like, okay, like, we can give this responsibility to these kids. But yeah.
How about y'all? Because
Yeah,
I know
how did it go in
you go to a
Raleigh?
different church, and you had, like, the class before us.
Yeah.
I'll share, like, a story that Awuna Musa told me. I always reference him, but he always has, like, the best answers for these questions. Our congregation is huge. It's humongous, and we have so many different opinions and personalities in the servants meeting. So I think that we face this a lot. He shared a story. It wasn't even in our church. It was when he was serving in Myrtle Beach. He said that or Greenville, something like that, that he faced a situation where they, like, sat on it for multiple days and just could not reach a solution. And I don't even think it was just between the servants. I think there was also the congregation involved, and nobody could come to a solution. And the priest he was serving with said, let's just fast. Like, let's fast for 3 days and pray about it. And hopefully, like, we get gain some clarity. And it ended up working. So I think, like, like not forgetting that, yes, we hold responsibility and we hold like supervisory roles, but also the fact that it's not all in our hands and our work is being blessed. Like our paths are being made straight and things are being made easy for us. Not forgetting that part and the fact that like we can do things to like offer it up to God and have it be solved for us. Like I've seen so many problems that are so out of my control and make me feel so overwhelmed that that's the only like answer I can give to that question.
Myrna, what about you? I know you like your age group. It was like it wasn't as many like people that jumped in the service like at one time. So
I don't know. I didn't really. It was okay for me. I didn't really. I think I blended quickly, because my friends were servants as well.
Mhm.
So I think I blended quickly. I didn't have a lot of struggles. Yeah.
It was just us guys.
You were the problem.
okay, what advice do you have for younger servants and people getting into the service?
Do it with your friends. I think that
That's a
like
big,
so much.
even like when you're serving people, like when like for your age groups, like for sure, like when you guys want them to come to Sunday school, you bring their whole friend group. So I think that that's like a really big point, to bring groups together. People do things with their friends. If they can come but their friends can't come, they won't come. So I think that's the most
I
important.
know me and Maria, whenever we got into pre-servants, that pre-servants group is our friend group. Like that, and obviously like add a few more people, but like that is like the main like group that kind of formed after pre-servants, and that's what made us so close, is the pre-service and serving together and having to do those rotations into each Sunday school and like these assignments and stuff. But yeah, now we're all just one big friend group of servants. So
I agree with the same thing. And this point that most of the people, they don't understand that the 10-15 minutes for the high school, that time will not make friends together. So they become friends together when they serve, when they go to retreats, when they do activities together. So that's how they build the relationship, and they're having fun and making memories. And I believe we discussed that on our last spiritual day, that the prodigal son, what made him stand up and come back to his father? Memories. When he remembered how servants are having like a meal every day, and he can't, he's starving, right? So that memory made him take the decision immediately and come back to his father's house. So those memories will make you come back to the church.
I'd say always pray. But I always pray for the service. Definitely, always pray for the service, and just be creative. I would say be creative. I
like
think when you're creative, you're telling people, or like this other service, about new ideas that you can do this and do that. And I think that draws you more into the service.
I was gonna say also, like, don't get discouraged, especially like if people aren't hearing you out, like how it was for us. Just remember your like intentions and why you're going into it and why you're doing it, because like the feeling you get from serving and like the like reward, I guess, is so much like greater than what you're putting in. Like, it's great. So just don't get discouraged.
Can I say something else?
Mhm.
I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys think what I meant by this story. So there was a professor at in engineering, and he wanna join this is a real story. He wanna be a monk and join one of the monasteries in Egypt. And at Egypt they have like a system that he has to come often into the monastery and spend some time and then go back home. And then after that, if he got accepted for a certain time, he will go to the next level, which is staying in the monastery for a period of time, checking him if he can live the life of monasticism. And then after that, after he got approved, he will be ordained as a monk. So he talked to the president or bishop of the monastery, and the bishop told him, "Hey, yeah, we can test you for 3 years, going back and forth to your house and spend some time in the monastery, and then go back." And then he was so happy. This professor was so happy, and he went home preparing his suitcase and coming back to the monastery. So the bishop called one of the monks and told him, "Do you know this guy, this professor? Next time you see him at the door, slap him on his face, really hard." He said, "Why? He's like a nice guy, and he want to be a monk." And he said, "Just listen to what I'm saying. Once you see him at the door, slap him really as hard as you can." And then the monk was like so confused. Why I need to do this? Like, I will not hit someone. Like, he didn't do anything bad to me. And then once he opened the monastery door and he saw this guy coming with his suitcase, he just going to slap him. And then he said, "You know that I love you, right?" He said, "Yes." "You know that you're a nice guy, right?" He said, "Yes, I know." And then he was like looking back to the bishop. He was watching him, and then he has to obey his orders, right? So he slapped him really hard. And then the professor said, "Why you want to hit me? Like, I didn't do anything." And then the bishop said, "Just get him out. He did not even got slapped, and he is complaining. Just get him out. Kick him out outside the monastery." And the monk felt that this is so unfair. He didn't do anything bad or wrong. And then he has to obey again. And they kicked him out outside the monastery, and they closed the door. And it was like really starting to get dark, and in the middle of the desert, he can't even go back home. And then the following day, they opened the door. They found him, the professor, with his suitcase in front of the door. And then the bishop was waiting, and then he told him, come in. So what I was trying to say at the beginning of the service, you may find some tribulations, some trials. Do not take it as God is rejecting me or the people are rejecting me. Just take it as I'm gonna take this to make me more tough and have more responsibility toward the service, and feel like I'm doing something really important for the service.
Are there any saints that like were role models for y'all in your service?
Okay.
Yes.
I will say Habib Girgis. I'll tell you a short story about Sunday school, how he came up with Sunday school. Pope Cyril V in 1899, he had an order or send a letter to all the churches to start teaching the little kids, the true faith. Because there was a lot of people coming from Europe and with different faiths and different beliefs. So he wanted to start teaching the little kids the true faith. So Habib Girgis took that responsibility, and he started the Sunday school at the 1900. And I just want you to imagine or put yourself in his shoes and imagine how hard to convince the church leaders at that time to bring the little kids into the church and having activities, and how resistant they were. Like, hey, I'm going to bring all the little kids in the church on Sundays and having all these activities and teaching them and telling them a lot of stories and spending a lot of time with them. And then so the leaders will, or the priests or even the bishops will say, "Oh, they're gonna do a mess. That we don't have enough budget to do this. We can't do that. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough Sunday school teachers." So there was a lot of obstacles or roadblocks in front of him, but he did not give up. Do you guys know how many years he was fighting for the Sunday school, to establish Sunday school? Just guess. You know?
15.
10.
15, 10,
20.
20, 5, 41 years.
Oh my gosh.
So the first conference for the Sunday school teachers was in 1941. So it took him 41 years defending his idea and fighting for establishing the Sunday school. And we owe him a lot for establishing that Sunday school. We are teaching those little kids the faith from young age to be servants, to be priests, to be bishops, monks, church leaders, right? So we owe him a lot.
Mine is basic, but Saint Mary, just like how she like served in the altar as a young girl, and like she served Christ as his mother, and I think she's a very big example of selflessness, which is so important for the service. She took so much tribulation and like public scrutiny and condemnation, and like people spreading like blasphemy and lies about her, things she didn't do, and like she still served.
Her
So
humbleness is very encouraging.
yeah,
I was gonna say Saint Paul, Saint Paul. Like it's just like his past and how God used him to become a like not symbol, but like a big part of the ministry, and how he was going to teach, and how he came from like persecuting God, and now he's, well, not now, but like he turned into being a big teacher and a big example, and like just the switch is very like encouraging.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Can you guys mention one example, each one of you, one example of a blessing that you had in your life that you think you don't deserve it, but God just blessed you with because of your serving, and you are sacrificing your time, your effort, your health to the church or to the service, and you feel like, I don't deserve this, but I think God just gave it to me because I'm serving. Can you have an?
Yeah, I think my friend group that I got out of the service.
I was
Um,
gonna say that too.
No, it's a very like what's it called? Can't find the word. It's a
Family?
it feels like a family, and it's it just feels like we're all meant to be serving together. And when we're all together serving, and even outside of the church when we do hang out, it doesn't feel like it's away from God. It just feels like we're meant to be where we are.
okay, I'll switch my answer then.
You don't have
No,
to.
like-
You can.
I mean, I thought of another one. I think that like when I was younger, like really young, I think I remember things that my servants did for me, and I'm grateful to them to this day for like how they taught me and how much effort they put in. Like you understand as you get older. So I think the biggest blessing for me is being able to also like have children who will grow up and see me also in that way. And like they grow up and like years later they come and they say hi to you, or they remember. Like I'll share a quick story. I had a girl who like she loved coming to Sunday school, and every day or every Sunday she would have a great time and answer questions and be so interactive. And there was one Sunday she was just not feeling it, so I told her the next Sunday I'd bring her a cake pop from Starbucks, and I brought her a cake pop, and she's in like 3rd grade now, and she won't forget it. Like she's so obsessed with the fact that I brought her a cake pop. So I think that's the biggest blessing, is like I can be part of their childhood is one.
What about you?
I would say just being a servant and serving my kids at least is a blessing on its own. But I would say, like she said about, it's a core memory for them, how you treat them, how you do something for them when they're upset, when they're not in a mood, and just offer something for them to encourage them to come. So I think I would say like the trust between me and them.
Maria?
Right, ask that question.
Okay, this is like, although I would say the friend group just have a different answer, definitely this podcast. Like at first I was very like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but like I guess it ties into the friends. If I hadn't been friends with Maurice, I would not be here right now, like doing this out. Like there was no way. She convinced me, and she was like, no, I think you're fit for this, and us working together would like really bring the youth together as well, because I've seen it in the youth as well. Like, we have like little group chats like for everyone to ask questions so we can answer them here. And I feel like if I wasn't so close to the church and if I wasn't like trying to be an active role model, I would have never been like recruited. But I feel like at the same time, I'm not always fit for this. I'm just like, there are better, but I feel like God really laid that blessing. He's like this is for your memories and like people.
So let me tweak the question. Have you ever felt like not outside in your personal life, like in the church, in the service itself, you feel like we have a need, and God is fulfilling that need? Have you ever felt that?
I don't know. I don't have an answer right now.
Like us personally?
No, in the service, let's say there is a need in the church, and God is working, and He sent you what you're asking for. You prayed, and you felt like God is responding to your prayers and sending whatever the service need. Have you felt that before?
Maybe the presentation we gave for Giving Tuesday, seeing how much people sent in and how much money was matched to be able to give money to this church and advance towards the new church. Like seeing how everyone came together because of like not because of our presentation, but knowing that I had a part in that, showing everyone how to use the website and like tell them why we give and stuff. It was just so like, it was cool to see the numbers go up, I guess.
This is kind of funny, but we were planning on like a retreat, like a spiritual day for our kids a few years ago during the fast, and we were trying to decide what to feed them, like what food to prepare. And so someone said chicken nuggets, like they're only 5. And then we were like, maybe we should talk to the head of the service. And then someone else was like, if we talk to the head of the service, he's going to say we have to feed them Xiaomi food. And someone else was like, what if we get popcorn shrimp and we just tell them it's chicken? So we were like, it was like funny. It was something simple, Yanni, but like we were really trying to figure out like what to feed them. And we were worried that like we had some really smart kids in our class that like kind of cause problems sometimes because they're too smart for their own age, Yanni. And we were like, if we bring popcorn shrimp and we say it's chicken, they're all going to get mad at us and they're not going to eat. And so we were like, okay, we'll just like kind of pray about it. And we pushed that issue to the side to work on other logistic like details and stuff. And then we ended up going with the popcorn shrimp idea, and nobody said a word. I don't think any of them knew anything. And maybe that was like not the smartest decision, but like it's very simple. Like I think the beauty's in like the simple things. Like
so God sent the solution.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask one more question. What's everyone's like favorite service that they've done?
It's a hard one.
Question. Probably like for us, I know Maurice, you had mentioned this before, and I was gonna agree with you. Definitely the food drive. I look forward to it every year. It's like everybody works on their own outside of the church on getting the materials, and like if that means cooking it or going to buy it, and like sometimes people will go together and then like to get the supplies, and then they'll come together and build it, like everything. It's so inspiring to see that everybody cares and everybody working together. It's like my favorite time ever. And then going to deliver it and everyone receiving it is like so thankful. It's just like, okay, maybe I'm not doing this for me only. Sometimes I think to myself like, oh, I'm doing it because it's gonna look good. And then after it's like, okay, I shouldn't be thinking that. And so it just reminds you.
And that reminds me of a lot of people serving in the church, but they are not recognized. We always focus on service as Sunday school teachers or servants, not teachers. But there are a lot of people serving in the church. They are away, and no one is shedding any light on them. Like the people who clean the church. They spend some time, they come alone, they come to the church, they start cleaning, they start climbing ladders, and if they fall down, I always think of what if they fall down and no one is there to help them even. So and the people that committed to do the Urban every week. So a lot of people are doing a lot of services. They are essential in the church, and without them, we cannot have a regular liturgies or having a clean church. But they are not recognized. So I believe those kind of services are as important as the Sunday school servants.
Yeah.
So, yep.
What's your favorite service though?
Pre-service class.
Really?
Oh.
Myrna?
I would say, I mean, Sunday school, obviously, but it's the time, like, around Christmas time or Easter time, and we're, like, packing, like, the Easter eggs or stuff like that. I think it makes them very happy, so I think that's my favorite part.
I really like the really big events with all the activities, like Maharagan competitions and, like, regional, like, with all the churches, and we, like, do a lot of, like, outdoor events on the soccer field and, like, rent bounce houses and stuff. I think those are really fun because you get to meet so many new people, and it's so easy to see the effect of your labor and, like, the fruits of your labor. So
I think my favorite one, other than the food drive, is the podcast. I don't shut up about this thing. I hope y'all know. It's like, whenever someone brings it up, I'm, like, so excited to talk about it because of how much I love it. And I love how many new people are on here and meeting them and all the perspectives that are shared. I feel like the voice is just, like, something this church needed. And it's just so fun. Like, I love doing this.
She's my roommate. I hear all of it. I'm like, oh, are you doing homework? No, I'm editing the episode.
it's okay. It's a service.
Good job. It's sounding really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you, Amupshoy, Myrna, and Julia for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
We're on all social media. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram.
We are CTP. Have a blessed day.